Thank you so much, Mr. Barasa. The board and membership of the Christian Writers Association. I greet you all. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lyn Tukei. I've already been introduced by Mr. Barasa. I'm very, very happy and honored to be here. I see a couple of faces that I know. Some do not know me. Caro, I know you don't know me, but I know you. I just want to say, I think I'm here for a reason, for a purpose, and it's tied to my expertise, my skill, but most importantly, my passion. I love to communicate, and I recently found a gap in communication, which is personal branding. So you know how we usually talk about the big brands. When I say brand, you're thinking the company, right?
Yeah.
The organization you work for, either a global brand or a local brand. You never really think of a person, you, as the brand. And so once I saw that gap, I said, there's literally a lot to be done in form of creating awareness about the brand called you. This cuts across everyone, every field, whether you're a doctor, whether you're in finance, it does not matter. You must be aware of the brand that you are. Now, when you're talking about personal branding, we talk about positioning yourself. You position yourself to be found by either your partners, by either your association, your community, like this one. You want to be found by your next investor for your organization. You just position yourself. But this positioning does not mean that you fake it. You're already a brand. You're here as Christian writers. That's the brand you're creating for yourselves, even individually. You're a Christian writer. There's a reason you chose to join a group of Christian writers and not any other group. It's an identity. So that identity comes in from your purpose as a person, right? If we are to ask anyone here, right, what your neighbor does, or what your neighbor writes about, what they are passionate about, you can just think about it. You'll be able to know, because if I'm talking about, I came in when Charity was talking about someone who can write, for example, in climate change. You know that person. If someone has positioned themselves to write for children, you know that person. To write for educators, you know that person. Amongst us, we already have developed a niche that if I want to be known for this, I have to be consistently talking about this and to also be in the position that I am talking about. So I'm also trying to make is, the point I'm trying to make, I usually talk about online personal branding, but people usually mistake it because you cannot have an online personal brand without an offline personal brand. So you, in your offline spaces, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, the way you behave is already depicting who you are as a person. So when you go online, you should not be a different person again. I think you have seen people who are posting on LinkedIn and they are your friends, and you're like, hey, but where did this post come from? This person is not like this. They are faking it, and that's really against the whole concept of personal branding, because you don't have to force what you're not. It's already who you are. So if you think you do not know what your brand is, just ask around your friends, your peers, your colleagues. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Some of you are here and you're writers, and not even your wives or your husbands know that you're writers. It is true.
What? They don't even know.
They don't even know.
And you are still with that husband or wife.
You know? Or some of you wrote 10 years back and you haven't wrote again. You haven't written again. What does that mean? Consistency. For you to build a strong personal brand, you must be consistent. There are so many writers, but they are not here. You know why? Because some of us are so engrossed in our day-to-day activities that we even forget the core of who we are. If you're such a good writer, you're such a good poet, you're such a good artist, anything really, when you come to the corporate world, for some of us who are in the corporate world, you tend to forget who you are because you're now into the policy discussions, the what, and you want to be identified as, you know, the director you are, the head of department you are, the global lead, and you forget the spark of what makes you you. And yet, if you're to really get the gist of personal branding, is everything you are in you. You don't have to pick and choose. Everything you are is still you. So your unique abilities could even be your personality. That could be your personal brand. Your personality. When I'm here in this association and they need volunteers, who is the first person they think of? Is it me? Or they know that you, when they call upon you, you will not come. They will not, like they can, you know, they cannot call you, you won't pick up your calls. That's a brand you're creating. Anything you do, the small little things, the kind gestures, is really part of your personal brand, your personality. Do not let go of that. Now, if we're to move away from our offline personal brand, and now we know our attributes, our skills, our expertise, what really make us, how do we then position that for anyone that's watching to be able to know who we are? In many circumstances, especially people who are very good at what they do, forget the gifts they were given by God. You know, in Matthew, where they talk about the parable of the talents, who can volunteer? So just so I know that I'm in the Christian Writers Association. Who can tell me about the parable of the talents? You had a devotion about it. Very good. Now, I like this authenticity. That means that we are really Christians, as we say we are. Because if you know about that parable, you know that we are given talents. God gives us these talents. And many of us tend to sit on them. Sometimes it's fear. You be like that one who buried it in the ground and is like, I don't want anyone to. But you're burying it in the ground. No one else is seeing. That talent is supposed to be shown to others. It's supposed to be multiplied. How do you multiply if you're not sharing your knowledge? If you're writing all these brilliant books and you're only looking at offline spaces to distribute, you're missing out on opportunities to share that world to many other people. That is why I bring in the aspect of online personal branding. Online personal branding is not about bragging and showing off and saying, they have seen me on LinkedIn and on X. No. You're really just sharing your knowledge to people who would not have got you in physical locations, who could not come here, but they now know about you. Why? Because of the power of technology. When you talk about, for example, I did research on this actually. I did an academic research on online personal branding and how that translates into the public perception of organizations. So you as the executives, you as the brand ambassadors of this book, right? Whatever book that we have here, you are the brand ambassador. Number one, the author. What does that mean? You are the CEO of that book. You're the boss of that book. Now, many of us try to think, and there's this perception that that my research was trying to dispel of, that your that your personal brand really should not be in any way connected to your organizational brand. That's why the things that you do, for example, when you're at office, when you're home, you've clocked out. But do you know that your personal values can tie into your organizational values? Do you know that your personal mission and your personal story can tie into your organizational story? That is what my research was about. And I talked to a couple of people, especially in the CEO suite. Now, my case study was Dr. Paul Kasenene. Anyone know him? Yes. So Dr. Paul Kasenene is very vocal on X. And what does he talk about? Health, nutrition. Don't eat chapati. So this guy, I said, but why does he feel the need to go on X? And you know, there's something about advertising for health. It's not allowed, right? So I said, let me go in deep, because doctors are not really coming out to talk about their things. Let me go in deep. I even asked my dad, who is a dentist. I said, what is this guy doing? Is he advertising? He said, no. He is doing health promotion. He's promoting healthy lifestyles. But in doing that, he's promoting his business. But really, the gist of him going online was not to promote his business. The gist of him going online was to share the knowledge that he has learned through his expertise, through his skills. He has traveled, he's been to school across the world. But he says, my Ugandan people do not know this truth. I must let them know and even spread the gospel outside Uganda. Just when I was interviewing him, I asked him what are his personal values. And he said, number one, he's a Christian. So everything he's doing, it's really also tied into his personal values. When he talks about health, sometimes, for example, during Lenten season, you'll see him throw him something about fasting. He'll throw in something about fasting. He'll say, did you know that if you fast, you could actually burn that weight? You know? And that is really him trying to embrace who he is as a person. Now, why am I bringing in the case of Dr. Paul Kasenene? It's because he has been able to merge his personal values and his personal story into his organizational story and vice versa. And that brings out a very beautiful story. All the big brands that we know of, it's not just big brands, they're just buildings, but there are people behind them. People who have values and their own stories that make the brand big. So why is it that we do not use the same energy on our organizational brands, on our own personal brands? Because we are the living ambassadors of Christ Jesus. So what do you mean I am not putting my personal beliefs into my work? What do you mean? Parable of talents. Everything that we do in our professional life, it's to help someone, right? You're writing books to help someone. So online personal branding is just you having a space that's bigger than you could have had to share that story. There is a theory called CEO effect, where they say a likable CEO translates into a likable organizational brand and vice versa. A CEO that's unlikable creates an organization that's unlikable by the public. So there are people who hate Dr. Kasenene, consequently will not go to the wellness clinic. But the people whose values align with Dr. Kasenene, when they get something, the first person they will think of is Dr. Kasenene, because their values align. And it's okay for people not to align with your values. It's fine. We're here, we're branding ourselves as Christian writers. Someone else may feel offended. Why Christian? But do you care about that? No. It is your identity, it is who you are, and therefore you are proud of that. The community that you will attract is the one that's aligned to your values. So how do we start that online community? I found Charity talking about LinkedIn, you know? How many of us are on LinkedIn? Nice, a good number. How many of us last posted last week? One. What did you post about, Angela?
As usual, mental health.
Mental health.
That's my niche.
So you write about mental health.
Yes, I do, and I also promote it.
Let's clap for Angela. So if I am to ask each of us to go on Google, type in our names, does author come up in the search results? How many of us? First try, actually Google your neighbor. I don't want you to Google yourselves, you'll lie.
No, we're not lying.
You'll not lie, you're Christian. Trying to make. If you're very passionate about building your personal brand, you need to start thinking about online spaces. As writers, we are very fortunate to know writing, because if you go to all these social media pages, LinkedIn, they require writing, text. That's it. X, it's text. No one has told you to put your face there because some of us fear camera. It's just text. Text, and you have a search engine optimized to talk about you the way you want to be talked about. Some of us last posted 2 years ago, which is why the identity that you're seeing online is not matching up to your identity right now. We keep rebranding. Some of us are just joining the Christian Writers Association. So how is that reflecting in your online personal brand? You update. The books that you write, why do we write them? Can you share your thoughts? In that chapter, can we at least do a post about it? Every week, at the very least, every week, write. Write on LinkedIn. And I know most of us are consumed by fear. Please do not be. Fear of getting 1 like, 2 likes, 3 likes. It's okay. The whole point is that you are sharing your ideas for anyone out there to be touched, even if it's one person. It's okay. I have built my personal brand without knowing it. And for me, it took me, well, it has taken me, say, 5 years to build my personal brand. When I started right from university, I had started working in my 4th year. And I was working for a fintech, and it's really a startup, right? So I start to just write about what this startup does, the problems they're solving for the finance world and everything. And I get so passionate about it because I knew that we were solving a need. There was a need. And so I was really doing it out of, you need this, you know? And I constantly did that for a period of, say, 4 years. Of course, my role is public relations. So, you know, I would interface so much with the media, you know, and then on top of that, I'm writing on my LinkedIn. So I would be in the news, I would be on TV. And everyone would be like, is that your company? I'm like, no, it's not my company. I'm working. Say, but why do you talk about it a lot? All the time you're there talking about. I'm like, hello, I just want to solve a need. That was really it. I don't know, maybe my boss did a very good job of selling that story to me, but that it was a powerful story that I knew should be told to everyone else. And so before I know it, and I was doing it really just to serve. Before I know it, a US agency, a renowned US agency reaches out and is like, hey, we have done a search on LinkedIn and on X, as well as news sites. And we have been able to find a list of PR professionals that are making impact in the financial technology world. And your name came 25 around the world. I said, what? They say, see for yourself. And there were search results talking about things that I couldn't even remember I talked about on all platforms. And that is how I was able to get my most treasured award to date. That award, named one most influential 100 PR professionals in fintech. That's when I said, oh my God. Now, not that I used that, God was helping me. I got an opening at the Capital Markets Authority, so I applied. I remember going in the interview room, and you know the first question is usually, talk about yourself. I say, I am named most, now everyone in the boardroom was like, most influential. And they knew. I was like, oh, you know, like, yeah, you talk about it, it's everywhere. I'm like, okay. And I got the job. I didn't plan for any of this. It was just passion, consistency. I knew I was solving a problem, so it was rooted in my purpose. So when I did this and I had all this coming out, I said, okay, what next? I need to tell people my story. And then I learned about the power of personal branding. Went on to do my master's, and I knew exactly why I was doing my master's. It was really to write that research paper. I wrote the research paper. Of course, I turned out the best in the class. Clap for that. My research was adopted by the head of department, Dr. Aisha Nachwala. She's at the Makerere University, head of department of journalism and communication. And we are actually co-authoring the paper. And it will be published on a global Jano. That's when, and this was actually this year. This was this year in January. And truth be told, I was pregnant for the last 9 months, of course. Goes without saying. Although my first one, it was 10 months, but that's a story for another day. So I had paused on personal branding online. I wasn't texting anything. I'd stopped for like 2 years maybe, actually. But something kept eating me up. Like, you have all this knowledge, why are you not sharing? I know it's the Holy Spirit that kept telling me that. Why are you not sharing? And I would see people talk about things. I'm like, but me, I have this to talk about. I'm quiet. And that's the thing about people who don't brand. They see people who are, for example, less qualified than them, getting all the appointments, getting all the investors in, getting all the readers they need, and they are aggravated. But what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? You're there just crying about someone who is less qualified than you, getting everything that you need, and you're just seated? Stand up and do something. So, of course, for me, it was from a point of, I've even done research. What do you mean I cannot be a thought leader on this? So, fast forward, after having my baby 2 months in, I'm still in maternity leave, I make up my mind. After all that reflection, and you really have to do a reflection, do a self-reflection. What do you want to go out? Online personal branding is not about trauma dumping. We don't want everything about you out there in the public. Everything about your family. We have not asked for your private life into our public space. Think about what you really want to share. So that's where the clarity comes in. What's that nugget? What are those nuggets that you need to put out there for everyone to know? And you bring it from an authentic voice. So it's from the stories, the journeys that you have had. It's really something that you have lived. They are your lived experiences. So you're sharing. Those people who can relate with you will join in on that journey, on that community. They'll start to read your books, get to know more about you as a person, and even you could inspire them. That's the thing about being a thought leader. You're not really doing it for you, but you're doing it to inspire others in your industry. We talked about the students and the young people coming into our association. How do you do that? You inspire them so that they can join you. If you're having activities about the association, talk about them. Who else will talk about them if not you? You're the brand ambassadors. You see, you've started small. Before you know it, you'll be a very big association. Probably even get statutory recognition. Who knows? But what I'm trying to say is there is no any other brand ambassador apart from the individuals that you are. You're different networks. You're the strongest brand ambassadors because you're the only person that has 500 friends that know you. Other people don't. The brand doesn't. The brand is just, it's a building. It's anything, right? It's a feeling. So can a feeling talk to another 500 people? No. It's you, the individuals, that talk. So after realizing the fact that I now know I have gained clarity of what I want to talk about, which is personal branding, communication, because I've been in this field for a decade now. So I believe that I can be able to say something, say my mind. Why wait? You know, many young people, and especially in the African culture, we think if you're too young, you cannot be given the microphone to speak. You're waiting to grow old to be given the microphone. You'll be too old for it. Why? Especially the young people. For young people, they are waiting to grow old to get the microphone. For those that are already in the industry, it's just fear and they think it's bragging. Those who know me. I don't have to go out there. We are past that age where you were the only qualified person. In the 1950s, you would be the only engineer. Right now, you have 1 million engineers. Excuse me? How do you stand out? How? You think you think you're the only doctor? You think they're going to come for you and say, hey, I'm in Nakapirit, you come for me? No. I just have to Google doctors around me and they are here. So how are you positioning yourself online? That's how you miss out on the opportunities. So the clarity that you need. So I got that clarity. I knew I wanted to talk about that. And then before I know it, I'm on LinkedIn. I was fearing X. You people know X? Yep. X is Twitter, yeah? I was fearing X. You know why? There's so much bickering on X. People will start to, they'll comment about things that, you've just posted yourself a picture and then they say, those eyes. I'm like, I wasn't posting for you to comment about my eyes. Focus on that substance. So I didn't go on X for a long time. I said LinkedIn is for professionals and even all my clients, because I have founded a think tank called Brand Help, where I'm hand-holding executives that cannot be able to do it on their own. So it's very, anyway, story for another day. So what happens is I go on LinkedIn first because it's a professional platform. So I will not expect any comment outside of professionalism. I start to build my brand there. I post twice a week. I post the things I'm passionate about, my skills, my expertise, the work I do at the Capital Markets Authority, really anything. But I just had pillars. So on Monday, I talk about, say, personal branding. On Wednesday, I talk about, say, capital markets. On Friday, I talk about just self-reflection, maybe an event I attended, because I usually attend many events. And in 2 months, I was getting calls to speak on personal branding. And I said, so you people, and I was actually at that point, I would get like 20 likes, 3 likes, it's okay. People were actually watching. When you're doing your LinkedIn, do not think of the likes. Do not see the likes and be discouraged. The metric you should look at is the number of impressions, people who are watching, people who have viewed. Because the thing is, one person has liked, but 200 people have viewed. 200 people now know about you. That's the metric you look at. Now, once I knew that, I consistently just put out information out there. And then I started to get calls, clients coming in. And so, money, of course, money. Before I knew it, I looked at my X. Most of my friends are on X. But you know about the saying, familiarity breeds contempt. So I didn't want to fast read, because you would have now friends just commenting on your thing, say, nice, I love, what? If you're commenting, comment with substance. Be really moved, not that you're liking because you're my friend and you're doing me a favor. No. So I went to X, finally. That's like 2 months back. And I first got a verified badge. You know what a verified badge is? The tick. In my research, I found that accounts that had verified badges, of course, the algorithm would help them reach more people, and also you're not limited to the number of characters that you write, yes. And of course, as writers, you don't want to do something in like 2 lines, 3 lines. It's a bit limiting. So I said I need more space. So I got a verified badge on X, and then I started to write. Before I knew it, X actually performs better than my LinkedIn now. And it was like, why am I fearing? Why am I fearing? And even when the negative comments come, I still did research on that. Dr. Kasenene gets the negative comments, but it's his values that make him keep going and respond with the clarity that he has. If he tells you do not eat chapati and for you start abusing him, he has made his points. He has backed up his facts. And so you move. It's really, there's also a whole topic on crisis communication, but it's really knowing what you want to do and everything else will fall in place. So if anything, and as I conclude, if there is anything that you should take away from this is know who you are. So do a self-reflection test, find out what other people are saying about you. Get the clarity of who you want to become, what you would like to put out, and then maintain consistency. Consistency in content, but also consistency in your authentic self. Do not come up with a persona that you are not. It should be the same persona that's offline to be online. Once you have that consistency, it's going to be very easy for you to start building a community around you. Of course, most importantly, feedback and engagement. Do not put out a post and go and sleep, and then people are commenting and you're not responding to them. When they respond to you, go and say, hello, thank you so much, da, 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 da. I appreciate this comment. Thank you for resonating with me. And that's how you build a community. So when you have a next book launch, you know who to invite. You've already formed a community. It's just a matter of now telling them, join my WhatsApp group, and I'll let you know of our next events. The next book launch, they come. And that's how you're able to build a following and a community. I think for me, for the Christian writers in here, one thing you should do is to form online presence. Go on LinkedIn. If you don't have an account, open one. Go on X, open one. But also I just want to caution you to you don't have to be everywhere at the same time. You can choose one platform because it can be overwhelming. Choose one platform, say LinkedIn or X or WordPress or Medium. That's for writers. Blog posts. You can just write and just put if you don't want to be on social media, the mainstream, it's okay. But I should be able to search your name and have all your work come up. That's the point. You don't have to, because I know we have very different personalities. Some people may just, it doesn't align with them. Yeah.
They can hire people to help.
Yes. You can hire people to help. That's a very good point. Which is why I thought about Brand Help as a company to help people and handhold them. Some people just don't want to be on their gadgets.
True.
And some people don't know where to start, so they need a strategy. That's where we come in. And so I'm very, very grateful for being here today to share this space with you. And I do not take it for granted that you were able to pick me up. I know Pius in absentia and Crystal were able to make this happen. The board and the membership, I thank you so much. May God bless you.
Yeah. We're going to ask questions later. Okay.